An ancient Greek philosopher named Epicurus believed that we don't need all these extravagant pleasures to be happy. Accumulating any excessive amount of money and possessions or acquiring power through politics will not lead us to satisfaction in the long run. If anything, such pursuit only makes us crave for more and deprive us of time, energy, and in some cases, our morality. Epicurus himself chose a simple life, enjoying weak wine, bread, and cheese, and discussing philosophy with friends. These forms of minimalism seem to have one common denominator. They use the minimal to achieve a goal, whether it's a nice piece of music, art, or pleasant living environment. But could we apply this principle to our overall well-being as well? How can we live happy, prosperous lives without breaking the bank? How can we be satisfied without cost? Several philosophers of the past shed their light on questions like these. This video explores different views on wealth, desire, pleasure, and how being rich can be pretty cheap. Having lots of money and material possessions doesn't necessarily make someone rich. Often, but not always. Wealthy people crave to accumulate more while being afraid of losing what they have. They live with stress and mistrust of others, and sometimes are entirely isolated from the masses who aren't financially well off. These people may successfully accumulate material wealth, but in many cases, this doesn't happen without significant sacrifice. For example, someone working 80 hours a week has less time to relax, and there's only little time left to spend with family and friends. Moreover, according to a study in American Journal of Industrial Medicine, consistently working more than 40 hours a week is detrimental to our health, as the risk of coronary heart disease increases significantly. Another study published in the Journal of Occupational and Environmental Medicine found that working more than 45 hours a week for at least 10 years was associated with an increased risk of cardiovascular disease. Of course, not all rich people overwork, and not all people who overwork are rich. But there's a correlation. You don't need a lot to be happy. The world commends a lack of money or low social rank, a reputation of being no good, and early death. More than 2 millennia later, nothing has changed. We could say that the wealthiest person isn't the one who asked the most, but the one most satisfied with what he has. And that being full of desire to be fulfilled is poor, but being content is rich. Epicurus once said, "But what are those cheapest pleasures? How can we enjoy life at minimal cost?" There are different ideas on what cheap pleasures entail, as pleasure is different for everyone, and whether or not something is cheap depends on one's circumstances. The 19th century author, geologist, and evolutionary thinker Robert Chambers, for example, stated in the journals that reading is an inexpensive way of deriving pleasure. He stated, "Reading, in fact, is nowadays almost as free as air." For example, enjoying a nice meal doesn't have to be very expensive if you cook it yourself, especially when it's a simple meal, which Epicurus would endorse. The price of walking in masculine energy, but not too much, and is aside from that an activity free of charge. What pleasure is most enjoyable and also very affordable? Epicurus may have an answer to his question. His philosophy distinguished moving pleasures from static pleasures. Moving pleasures involve activity to satisfy one's desire, like eating in a restaurant when hungry. The cheaper our pleasures of joy, the less time and effort we need to attain them, and the more we enjoy not wishing for anything else. If that isn't the ultimate form of minimalism, then I don't know what is.